Hey internets, it's Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and this is the premiere of Scribes and Scrolls, the Candlekeep Mysteries. This is Book 1, Chapter 1. Book 1, The Joy of Extradimensional Spaces. This is Chapter 1, The Missing Sage. And in just a few moments, we're going to start playing this campaign in its entirety, is the plan. Candlekeep Mysteries, one of the newer adventure modules from Wizards of the Coast, and I am so fortunate to have assembled such an incredible group of players to join me around this virtual table, all of whom I've played with in different capacities, but we've never had this group together before for a D&D game. And this is going to be an epic one. Every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on twitch.tv/mini-terrain-domain. Mark your calendars. If you haven't already done so, hit the follow button. Yeah. We're going to, real quick, I'm going to make just a couple of super quick announcements. Everything that I talk about has automatic timers that pop up in the chat from time to time. And there are certain chat commands you can use to bring up the information, but I do want to, of course, shout out our channel sponsor and good friend, Talon and Claw. Anthony at Talon and Claw makes such incredible wooden dice accessories, rolling trays and DM screens, dice vaults, has an incredible gemstone dice Kickstarter. You can see the link in the chat right now. Thanks to Cole Sparks for that. Welcoming for the first time ever in a collaborative sort of partnership, we're going to call it. You'll notice the logo for Run Right Play down below. That is our friend Keel, who has an incredible zine that he puts out in collaboration with the community. Keel is among the best of the humans on this planet. Please type !RWP and you'll get a link to the Patreon where you can find out more about. I was surprised to find out today when I was looking at it and talking to Keel that I was not yet a patron. I fixed that. I am now a patron. So we are very excited to have partnered up for this campaign with Keel and Run Right Play. So check that out. And of course, it's a little extra special to have both Jordan and Dwight, the other two parts of Mini Terrain Domain, playing in this game. We are, what's going to happen is in just a moment, we are going to have everybody introduce themselves, tell us where you can find them, and then we are going to start playing this game. But there's something that we always take time to do before every single game that we stream, every stream that we do. And it's just to let you know that you matter. Your presence on this earth makes a difference. Whether or not you believe that, it's true. We know that it can be a struggle sometimes, and we want you to know that it is okay to not be okay. It's okay to have tough times, but you don't have to do it alone. Anytime, day or night, whether we're streaming or not, you can come here and you can type !help in the chat, and you will get some phone numbers for some crisis lines here in the US and Canada, but there's also a hyperlink that will links to helplines all around the world. So no matter where you are in the world, help is just a phone call or a text message away. We do encourage you to please get help if you need it. Best decision I ever made was to reach out and find a counselor who I talk to on a regular basis. So please use that help resource. It'll also show up periodically, as it is right now, along the bottom of the screen while we're playing. So you'll always have it easily accessible. All right, we are going to do some introductions, and then we're going to get into the game. So we're going to go around our virtual table here, and I'll just have you tell us who you are and where we can find you when you're not hanging out here on Monday nights. So we're going to start with you, Gary.
Hello, My name is Gary. I am the editor and chief guy at fortnerd.com. You can find me on Twitter at fortnerd.com. That's fortnerd, DOTCOM.
Awesome. We'll go down to Dwight next.
Hey everybody, I'm Dwight. I am the Big Bearded Nerd. You can find me here on Twitch at on Big Bearded Nerd 21. I paint minis and I know things, but I forget them because I'm old. So come see me Tuesday and Thursday nights where I paint minis. Let's Paint Tiny Things on Tuesdays and International House of Minis with our friend Keel and a couple others on Thursdays. And then I run some games here as well. And yeah, I'm a proud partner with Jake and Jordan here with Mini Terrain Domain. So I am super excited for this game. Let's get it going.
All right, next up is Cari.
Hi, I'm Cari Scholtens. I do voice stuff on the side. I have played with Jake and Dwight and Ricky, and I have not played with Gary and Jordan, so I'm really looking forward to that. You can find me on Twitter at Cari Scholtens. I play in another game called Dice Tales that's for charity. And that our next game is the 29th, Saturday. So that will be fun. And I'm playing again with Dwight and Jake, at least, on Wednesday, yeah?
Yeah, we'll be over on Big Bearded Nerd.
Over on Big Bearded Nerd.
For Curse of the Mummy Lord, our Call of Cthulhu game that I am the keeper of. Next up, we've got Ricky.
Hey everybody, Ricky here. Well, I would like to describe myself as a butterfly emerging out of its cocoon in terms of my internet presence. You can find me mostly on Dwight's channel, Big Bearded Nerd. Otherwise, I'm here, and eventually, I will have a Twitter and all the other things everyone else has. But for now, I'm here. Here we are.
All right, and finally, saving the best for last, Jordan.
Yeah. Hi, I'm D&D Jordan Lee. I am partnered up with Jake and Dwight over here at Mini Terrain Domain. I am a Twitch variety streamer, so although I mainly play a lot of Dead by Daylight and talk about how it relates to Dungeons and Dragons, because why not? I also am a charity streamer, so I'm currently raising money for Color of Change all year round, because we should be focusing on that all year round. As well as a co-founder of the Amphitheater, which is a production company / TTRPG production company that does everything TTRPG based. So I will actually be throwing a honey heist tomorrow over on the Amphitheater, where I will be having Goblin Katie, Lauren Walsh Art, Duval, among other amazing people. So come hang out and check it out.
All right, Jordan, if you could bring your mic up just a little bit. Chat says they're having trouble hearing you. You're a little on the quiet side.
I never get that.
So we'll get that taken care of. And I just realized I totally forgot to mention something because it's a brand new campaign. Some of you are no strangers to Mini Terrain Domain and might have wondered why I didn't mention this already. But in this campaign, we will be using domain dice. We are going to be trying, as we progress in the campaign, we're going to be trying some experimental things. I'm working on the concept for a limited set of DM domain dice. That's right, you'll be able to buy me domain dice that I can use again, for the players and for the story. But I will be limited, no matter what the mechanics of that work out to, I will be limited to a maximum of 5 at any given time. However, this season we will be using domain tomes. I'm going to make 5 of them show up on screen right now. Oh. Our lovely new domain tomes. Now, what are domain dice? Well, that is a way that you, the audience, can have an impact on what happens in the game. In fact, Black Sabbath 82 just subscribed, pledging their banner to the domain for 6 months in a row. You just earned your first domain tome. Domain dice, thank you, Dwight, for putting it in the chat. They have a lot of cool effects, re-rolls all the way up through super critical. As I said, we're going to be experimenting with the domain dice this season, so we might be changing up for Candlekeep how they actually work. But domain dice are in play. A $5 tip, a 500-bit cheer, subscriptions, resubscriptions, those kind of things will earn domain dice. Raids for this campaign, raids no longer earn domain dice. However, that's an incidental thing. We would like deliberate. We want you to deliberately contribute to the success of the players with the domain domes. I think that's it. I think we're ready to actually start playing this game.
Oh, man.
All right. We're going to set the scene here. Standing atop a rocky crag overlooking the Sea of Swords, the massive citadel of Candlekeep has endured the elements for centuries and defied the degradations of time. Visible for miles around, Candlekeep has an eye-catching silhouette. A high wall interspersed with towers. This wall encloses a large space from which more towers rise. Those who behold the edifice say it looks nothing so much as like a cake decorated with an overabundance of candles. The entrance to Candlekeep is a double gate that stands at the end of the Way of the Lion, the only road that provides access to and from the outside world. The route follows a lonely path across the peninsula where Candlekeep stands. Those who gain entry discover a cloistered community of scholars milling around inside Candlekeep's walls, a place of enlightened conversation and friendly debate. No better place in the realms exists for those who have a love or a need for knowledge and who want to pursue such interests alongside fellow seekers. Candlekeep has the largest repository of written lore in Faerun, including the collected prophecies of an ancient sage named Elondo the Seer. Those compiled divinations make up a tiny fraction of the accumulated knowledge and secrets contained in the library's vast collection. Not all knowledge preserved in Candlekeep is of historic importance, though. The library holds thousands upon thousands of lost recipes, old songs, collections of folklore, and journals written by folks whose time has long since passed. The abundance of these ancillary works makes finding notable tomes an exercise in patience and perseverance. Fortunately, a legion of scholars and sages called the Avowed look after the library and remain vigilant in the care and cataloging of all the knowledge it holds. It is known throughout Faerun, and for those who would become seekers heading to Candlekeep in search of whatever lore or mysteries they may be looking for, that there is an entrance fee. That entrance fee is a work that the Candlekeep does not already possess. Something that stands out as unique and original in some way. In some cases, they will take rare editions of, or signed tomes or annotated editions of works that are already in their library, but for the most part, they are looking to continuously increase the collection with the uniqueness of the people of Faerun. It is springtime here along the Sword Coast. It is the 16th day of Tarsak, the 4th month, in the year 1492 by Dale reckoning. The year of 3 sailing ships. It is morning. People are beginning to form a small crowd outside of the gate that has yet to open at Candlekeep. The sun is beginning to rise and is painting the eastern walls in yellows and oranges. Shadows are falling long across Candlekeep at the moment. blue sky, a few clouds, and dozens upon dozens of gulls are circling above, their cries heard mixing in with the light breeze and the sound of people. To give a bit of an anachronistic point of view, if you've ever been to an amusement park in the early morning, queuing up, waiting for it to open up. For those of us in the Midwest, Cedar Point is probably the one that's most closely that we can relate to. But there's a certain atmosphere about waiting for that, the anticipation of what is to come. All of these people milling outside have their various reasons for coming to Candlekeep. And we are going to turn our attention towards 5 such individuals. Players, I've warned them about this already, so I'm warning you, audience, do not fear when I say the words roll for initiative. This is not a combat encounter.
Hey, it's the inaugural. I feel like we should smash a thing of champagne over a boat bow.
That's a 22.
All right.
Ooh.
So
I got a 16.
Let's see. We got. Let me do this. Let me call out from you guys.
Yep.
Gary, what did you get?
I got 3 after rolling a 1.
All right. And then Dwight, you got 22. You said
22 on the DDB dice.
And then Cari,
16.
Ricky,
Power 4.
all right, and Jordan.
14.
All right. So okay, the order is going to be Dwight, Cari, Jordan, Ricky, and Gary. So, Dwight, who do we see currently standing outside waiting to enter Candlekeep? Tell us a little bit about your character and what are they thinking about?
So you see Mizya standing, probably 2, 3, 4 people back in queue. Wizened, older drow, dressed in this regal kind of dark purple robes with silver trim, silver hair, against elderly. The skin's kind of wrinkled around their eyes, on their hands, clutching a satchel that you can see the books are almost overflowing out of it, and has another one, this red tome. It's this deep burgundy leather with, it's almost as big as their chest, and it's just covered in gold filigree and writing. And they're just, you can see, even though they've got this long flowing robe, you can see their feet or their foot just tapping impatiently as they're just kind of glaring a hole in the back of the head of the person standing in front of them. And just, they can't believe that someone would have the audacity to stand in line in front of them on this most important day. That no one could have possibly gotten here before Mizya did today, but somehow there's 3 people in front of them right now.
Amazing.
All right. Cari, introduce us to your character.
Yeah. So Teera is huge. She's healthily over 6 feet tall, very muscular, blonde, wearing pretty simple armor with accents of blue on different parts of it. Notably, even in this northern kind of chillier day, she is not wearing sleeves, and you can see on her arms, on her shoulder most notably, a brand in the shape of a wolf. There are linear scars down her arms that seem almost intentionally made, though you wouldn't know unless you asked her. Under her arm, she has what looks like about a 2 foot by 2 foot square just collection of what look like hides, but without looking too much closer, you can't really tell. She is trying to maintain something of a poker face, but you catch her every so often glancing up at this giant structure, kind of in awe, and then sort of looking almost for comfort back towards the wilderness that is still just within eyeshot.
Excellent. Jordan? What do we see?
Further back in line, you see a half-elf ranger with curly, at this point, early in the morning, very unruly hair. There's probably actually a little bit of hay or wheat that is kind of still stuck to her hair because she really rolled out of the bed and came running. So she is kind of looking around nervously. She's wearing greens and browns. She's got a bow and some arrows, as well as a sword at her side, as well as a black wolf with one blue eye and one green eye, named Soren, who's probably yapping at her side, waiting for pocket bacon to be served for this morning's breakfast. She is kind of like trying to be composed. You know, she's heard about manners and etiquette, and seeing how maybe seeing how further up in the line there's a darker elf that is way more presentable, so trying to mimic that but not really knowing what to do, but kind of looking nervous being next to this structure as well as around all these people. So she is just kind of literally she keeps facing forward and then finding herself turning back towards the wilderness as well, just kind of wishing she was there for more comfort. So that's Asaria.
Excellent. Ricky?
So Vornuk he's not even in line. He's sitting on a rock, like looking at everyone in line, and he's kind of like sipping some hot coffee that he made from his camp last night. And he's also reading a book. And in this book, he is circling words that he doesn't know the definition of, that he has to come back to later. He's got big old goggles on. He's got his reading glasses on. But to everyone else, it just looks like goggles that he's wearing. And he's like kind of lost in his own thoughts. And every now and then he looks at the crowd and he sees that it's still the same line that's been out here for, since the beginning of morning. Goes back to reading, reads a few more sentences, doesn't quite know what that word means, and kind of taps his circles around it to check back on it later. He has black clad leather armor on. He's a half orc with gray skin, and he has a mohawk. And he's kind of sitting there with the temperament of like a placid lake, just observing the crowd, then going back to his reading. And yeah.
Awesome. And finally, we come to Gary.
Standing at the very back of the line, the last creature, as far as the eye can see, is a tall, gray-skinned being. It has to be just under 7 feet tall, broad as a bar, and at least 350 pounds. He's been standing there for not very long, but anybody who's caught notice of him, which is everyone because he dwarfs almost all of them, would notice that he's standing more or less without movement, just waiting.
Next to you, Doc, in fact, right in front of you, there is a young half-elven woman with red hair, pulled back into sort of a messy bun. She's got a what looks to be a heavy canvas bag over her shoulders. You can see a couple of books just peeking out of the back. And she kind of, I certainly hope I get in there soon. Need to put these down for a spell. She kind of turns and in her movement, she has adjusted such that the rising sun kind of catches her in the eye. Your shadow, Doc, has sort of been keeping her shaded for a little bit. And she, leans back just a little bit, and then she just kind of, oh, good morning.
Hello.
First time here?
He looks up for a second as if thinking and says, yes. As far as I can recall, I have never been here before. Is it your first time here?
No, I'm usually here about for about a 10-day out of every 2 months. Still studying. Lots of work to do. Well, she kind of looks at you. Are you carrying any bags or anything like that?
A very small leather satchel in his left hand.
She kind of looks at that and readjusts her heavy bag of books. Well, good luck. I hope you make it. I hope to see you inside. Right.
You hope to see me inside?
Well, I mean, we're going to be there at the same time. I'll probably see you. I don't know how long you're going to be here. I'm going to be here for a 10-day, so I'll probably see you on the. Oh, look, the line's moving, and she takes a quick step forward as if to excuse herself from the conversation she started.
I love her already.
Mizya, the 3 individuals that are in front of you are 3 gnomes. They all have a very similar look about them. And from their conversation, you get the sense that they are probably related. They are... One of the things they keep doing is getting a little too close to you. I think that's probably it. That might be enough to set you off. Thank you, Hawkmere, for gifting out 5 community subs, keeping me on my toes with these. You think I wasn't ready for this? Let's see, we were at 3. There you go. I gotcha. 8 domain tomes. So one of these gnomes keeps moving really close to you as he's gesturing, talking to the others. And at this point, he says, "Look, I told you it was easily this. No, it was this big." And he leans back and just bumps into your knees. Sorry.
Well, and Mizya just kind of waves their hand and casts Mage Hand, and they're like 6 inches between Mizya and this gnome. This hand appears and just kind of like gently starts to push against, as Mizya just kind of haughtily looks down their nose and turns to look away. Mind your space if you do not mind.
Sorry about that. I was just telling the brothers. Didn't believe the size of the knucklehead trout that he caught. It was easily this big. Every time he says it, his hands are further apart. This time they're as far apart as they'll go. And they're doubt. No, it wasn't. I was there with you. I wasn't even a knucklehead. It was a guppy. And one of them seems a little more contained of the 3 of them. Look, I think they're going to be opening the gates soon. Calm down. We don't want to get kicked out before we even get in. People are waiting. All right. No, it looks like it's... Yes. And they all turn their attention, and you can see over their heads, of course, Mizya, as the large double gate... easily pushing 18 feet, maybe 20 feet high. Raw black metal iron gates. And you watch as just the one side, the right side of the gate, is pushed open on creaky hinges. And you see as 5 priests in purple vestments step forward. And then you see from their midst, he seems to kind of be pushing out from behind them, is about a 3.5 foot tall, older, gray bearded, dwarven gentleman. Why don't we take a look here at our sage friend, who we can see now as these priests step out. This dwarf steps forward. Hello, seekers, or would-be seekers, and good morning, and welcome to the gates of Candlekeep on this 15th day. What's that? 16th day of Tarsak. It is a lovely spring day. Perfect day for reading and studying and socializing in the court of air. But I'm ahead of myself, of course, assuming you get in. You see, you've already queued up in an orderly fashion. Myself, and there's the avowed priests of Denier will be overseeing your entry into the court of air. Of course, you all know what the entrance fee is, so please have your works at the ready. We will inspect them as quickly and as thoroughly as possible, and if they meet with our minimum requirements, you will, of course, be granted access. We will be pairing you off into groups, setting you with an adjutant guide, where you will be given a brief tour and instructions. And yes, I know you've been here before. You still have to listen to all the rules every time. Right.
I love it.
Now, and he looks right at you, Mizya. Are you... Oh, sorry. Almost didn't see you there. He looks down at the gnomes. Are you ready? The 3 gnomes quickly get together. Yeah, so we're all set, Come. And the sage leads them off to the side where they meet up with one of the 5 avowed priests of Denier. Why don't you all give me a religion or history check? I'm going to start off with some rolling. We are playing a game after all.
I don't have religion or history. Is that
Doesn't
okay?
matter.
Like it's not.
Yeah, I'll specify if I need you to be trained in something. But
Okay.
anybody can still make these checks.
17.
And
21.
I got an 11.
Okay. Anybody that got a 12 or higher, you recognize
Oh,
that Denier is the god of writing.
Oh,
As the 3 gnomes are shuttled off to the side, the dwarf looks at you, Mizya, and says, hello. My name is Sage Wurbin Durthane.
Yes, can we get on with it? I've been waiting for quite some time.
Quite eager to get into the hallowed halls and begin your studies, I see.
Mizya doesn't even really acknowledge. They just wave their hand, and this kind of spectral form materializes right next to them and picks up this satchel full of books. You can see just there's not really any form to it, but you see like some arms maybe come out of it and pick it up, and then Mizya will start to step forward with this spectral form, this unseen servant that
wow.
is carrying their books for them.
Uh,
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. It appears as though you've brought quite the collection. Of which of these works from your personal collection will you be presenting for Candlekeep?
Mizya sets this burgundy book, and it sets down with is there a table or anything, or is this just handing it over?
You'd just be handing it over to him.
Then Mizya, it's with some effort, because this is a very large book, and Mizya hands it over. I'm certain this will meet your requirements. It is, of course, Mintiper's chapbook, a compilation of writings from the Lonely Harper's Mentor Silver. I'm quite certain you don't have one of these, so I'll just be on my way, and starts to step past.
Yes, wonderful. Please, a moment.
Yes.
Oh.
And you see him just sort of, he's looking at it, he's turning it over, checking the binding. Yes. I thought this looked familiar. Believe it or not, we actually, we have, I believe, 3 of these in our collection already. One is annotated and one is signed. Sorry. I'm afraid this one is not going to get you in the gate.
I never. Well, very well. And I will turn to the satchel and I'll start to leaf through. Yes, here we are. Pull out another one. This one's kind of a darker gray. I am quite certain you don't have a Book of Vile Darkness, and hands it over.
A Book of Vile Darkness, you say? Well, he seems almost hesitant to take this book from you. Oh, okay. And he says this a little bit louder. He starts to say, a Book of Vile... Wait a minute. And he rapidly is flipping through these pages. May I ask you a question, meaning no offense, most gentle person?
Yes.
Do you or have you ever had need of reading spectacles?
No. Why would you ask?
It is possible you may want to see a cleric or a mage of some sort that could see to your eyes. I'm afraid this is actually called a Book of Smiling in the Darkness, not the Book of Vile Darkness. Most sorry.
Well, I must have something here then, and I'll reach over and I just start to just like leaf through. Vocals, gossip cauldron. No, that won't do. How to kiss better. No, they won't use that either. This is an index from Silvery Moon. I'm sure you can't use that. The Phoenix Prophecies. I don't know what else I could give you. I was certain.
I'm sorry. Pardon me, you were muttering quite a bit there, and I did not want to intrude if you were, talking to your assistant here. Did you mention Silvery Moon just now?
Yes, I have an index of their catalog. I spent many a years there. I've basically read everything that they have. Yes, I have a list of all the books that they have in their repository. But you don't want that, and I start to go back through.
No, let me take a look at that just a moment, just to sate my curiosity.
If you don't mind. Pull this out. It's just a scroll with like like old person scribbles on it. But I hand it over. I suppose there's no knowledge here that you could use.
Every book, you say? Yes.
Yes, I am quite detailed in my note taking.
You certainly are. I've actually read some of these myself. Well, wait here one moment. And he turns just to one of the avowed priests, who, as Sage Durthane turns his back to you, you see the priest. Their eyes, like, for a moment they go, and then regain their composure.
Oh.
Yes, exactly. This was what I thought. All right. Yes. Very well. Pardon me, gentle person. What was your name?
Well, of course, I am Mizya Helviar.
Yes, Mizya Helviar. Allow me the distinct honor of granting you access to Candlekeep today. This will do nicely.
Yeah.
For my scribbles, well, and it's
one moment.
Lord.
You see on his belt, he has this roll of parchment, and he reaches down and he grabs at a piece and just kind of tears off about a 4-inch section, pulls out a quill, dips it into some ink that's on like a bandolier, and quickly and deftly, in a very handsome script, write you a receipt. And for your personal records, yes, please, if you'll step through the gate and wait on the other side, as others come through, you will be grouped and assigned with an adjutant.
Well, it takes a minute for Mizya to kind of catch themselves. Well, very well then. Come along, Barnaby, and waves to the Spectre, and we'll wander on into the gate.
All right.
Barnaby. Amazing.
There's quite a bit more muttering as a couple more people are admitted. And though it's still early enough in the morning, the sun is low enough to be casting long shadows. And a very long shadow indeed, and very broad shadow, falls across Sage Durthane as he turns and looks up, all the way up, nearly twice his height, to Teera.
Amazing.
Well, welcome to
Hello.
the gates of Candlekeep. What offering do you present for our collection?
Yeah, well, thanks for having us. And I wasn't listening for Dwight's answer. Is there a table or something?
Nope.
Or not? Okay, then I'm like, thanks for having us. And then I just sort of drop this 4x4, what appears to be a stack of hides kind of in front of him, and the snow is just kind of light and fluffy, so it goes kind of up and around it as it falls.
Snow?
And I'm like, so is there snow? No?
No,
Dust,
sorry, it's
dirt.
spring.
I don't care.
Dust. Excellent.
I don't know your nerd months. I'm sorry. I didn't do my homework.
It is springtime. It is the 4th month.
Okay. Pollen then. So anywho, Teera kind of drops to her knees and is like, so let me show you what we got here. I think it's going to be very unique. And then I on the what you now see is her best attempt at a book, is like a thick leather cover, and on it is an Orcish bestiary written in both common, but it's underneath the main title, which is in Orcish. And in fact, everything else in this book is written in Orcish. And so I'm pointing and I'm like, so you see, this is all Orcish. I know not a lot in Orcish is written down. Usually, we get our point across by, yelling or other ways. But anyway,
pardon me. one moment. This is written Orcish.
Oh yeah.
You?
Yeah.
You speak and write in Orcish. That is most fascinating. And
yeah, sure it is. Anyway, this is how you hunt a bear. And right here, I've got how to fish and how to bait a hook and how to make a snare. And I am flipping through these different pages, which you can see are themselves hides of these different things that she has killed to make this book.
He is on his knees, and he almost has to sort of lean over and grab it and just sort of pull over to flip to flip over to the next page, and he is just flipping through, and he's spending a decent amount of time on each page, and as he's flipping through it, yes, this is very astute here about what you say about rabbits, hares, squirrels, chipmunks, and rats. Yes. As he gets to a section on opossums, badgers, and wolverines. Anybody else looking over might see an emphasized sections of text in this crude Orcish writing, but he points right at it. Absolutely, do not underestimate under any circumstances. I must say, I personally have never seen anything like this. The craftsmanship that has gone into it, and you appear, and I can honestly say I've never said this about any work that exists within the library that my eyes have fallen on. You appear to have captured, killed, cured, or otherwise procured all of the pages yourself.
Yeah, I did. I thought it would be a nice touch, as it's not just me telling you how to do the stuff. I actually did it. And I kind of gesture at the hide of what says is a bear.
Right. Well, I do apologize. It's so caught up by this work here. I'm Sage Werben Duthane. What was your name?
Teera the Sunmaned, they call me up north, but you can just call me Teera.
Teera. Welcome to Candlekeep. Please make your way through the gate and find the gathering there and wait until we have an adjutant assigned to you as a guide. He quickly leans over, makes a motion to one of the priests, who ducks inside the gate for just a moment, and a couple of what they wear similar purple vestments, but they're much less elaborate, and it takes two of them to come and get your offering and carry it between them. And there's a brief moment as you're trying to go through the gate and they're trying to go through the gate, and it's not open quite far enough, and they're having to work together to turn it on end, and but they gladly take the offering, and you are now inside.
Slightly before I go in, if I may, I turn to where I have noticed what appears to be a person of orcish blood. I can't tell if he's an orc or a half orc, but I noticed him waiting in line, and as I've gained success, I turn to him and I put my hand on my shoulder where my brand is, and in Orcish I say, "Prosperity and conquest, brother." And then I walk in and follow the priests. It's an Orcish good luck sort of thing, and a greeting.
So I see the message and kind of like look around and see if there's any other orcs that she's. Yeah, it's me, and I kind of do one of the. You two, kind of like. Kind of looking away. Just back to my book and back in circling words and underlying sentences again.
Awesome.
Well, Jordan, Assyria is up next.
All right. So Assyria will step forward and kind of drop her bag unceremoniously in front of.
Please, startle me.
I'm so sorry. Writing. Right. That's what you need. And then she kind of starts digging through her bag. Soren, get back, as Soren kind of tries to dive into her bag for more pocket bacon. And she eventually pulls out a bunch of hay and a leather-bound, very worn-away book. It has what appears to be the etching on the leather itself, looks to be a wolf, as well as a kind of a little bit of a wheat grain underneath it. And she'll kind of very carefully, even though this thing is weathered away, you can kind of see she's eyeing it almost like it's the last bit of gold that she has. But she carefully will hand it over to Sage Durthane. I'm not sure exactly if you have this. It's the legend of Narmer. I'm not sure if you're probably familiar with it. I don't know what I'm saying exactly. It's the story of the legend of the Wolf of the Grain, of a village that would work with the wolf, and every time we celebrate the wolf, then there'd be a plentiful harvest, and how that companionship and reliability came to be. So it's the spirit of the harvest, the spirit of the wolf, from where I come from, which is just a little forgotten town. But I'm not sure if you have this, but it's what I have to offer.
May I? And he sort of gently holds his hand out.
Of course.
He takes it gently from you, and he kind of looks up over his spectacles, his round spectacles at you, and it's all right. There's nothing to be nervous about.
Thank you. I believe it's the only written copy. The only place I've heard it is just through auditory, just hearing it. So this is something my mother used to tell me, and I wrote it down and put it together.
You penned this?
Yes, it's. Sorry, the writing's not that great, but yes.
Interesting. Yes. You say your mother was the orator of this legend. This is your source for this.
Correct. My father used to tell the story every harvest time.
Yes, very interesting perspective. I've heard variations of this story, but never quite from this perspective. And it's in remarkable. Well, the cover's a bit worn, but the contents are in remarkable shape. I'm sorry. And he reaches in and he pulls out a piece of bacon. Were you using this as a bookmark?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I was hiding that from. I'll take that. I'm so sorry.
I imagine he's sorry, and he's holding it up high.
Soren, sit.
Please do take it.
I'm so sorry.
Yes, we'll consider the scent of bacon as a bonus to the to the tail, a bit of olfactory to add to the auditory of the oral tradition. This will do nicely. I am Sage Durthane. Your name was?
Saria, Resha. It's good to meet you.
Well, Saria, Resha, and Soren.
Yes.
Welcome to Candlekeep. Please
you.
do make your way inside where others are already gathering, and an adjutant will be along shortly to guide you the rest of the way.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Quickly grab her stuff and kind of eat the bacon with Soren as she walks away.
I love it. Oh my god, yes, dude.
Vornuk, are you still standing off on the side waiting for the others, or will you?
I slid in line, but I'm kind of like towards like the middle back of the line. I'm like just maybe 2 paces in front of Doc. So.
All right.
Yeah.
So your turn eventually comes up, and you find yourself, by this point, a few people have gone through. The sun's getting a little higher. It's getting into the mid-morning time, but it's still comfortable out. There's not too much warmth. It's a spring day. Sage Durthane kind of looks at you, and he looks past, seeing only a couple others in line. Welcome, I am Sage Urban Durthane, and welcome to Candlekeep. Sorry. It's been a bit of a morning.
Yeah.
What do you have to offer?
Hold on 1 second, and I'm kind of like patting myself down, and I reach in my pocket and I swap out my lenses, and I put away my reading lenses and put in my talking lenses. I'm like, okay, now I'm ready to. Okay. Yeah. And I kind of reach in my other satchel, and I have probably about like a 40 or 50 page book. This is the apocalypse of Octarius, as told by the Blood Axe Mezganeth. Long story short, Blood Axe kind of spoke to me about orcs and their homeworld out in the stars. And here's the book. And I kind of just like hand it to him like nervously. And I wrote it myself because I was translating from a axe that's within my tribe. And I kind of do one of these and like deep breath and look at him like, I know my grammar's not that great. And yeah, and I'm kind of looking around, making sure I look kind of tough still around everyone else as I rub my fists together.
He takes the book from you and he looks it over carefully. Interesting. Very interesting. I've heard of some of this. Some of the tales of the orc tribes makes its way down here to Candlekeep in one way or another, and you're not.
Yeah, we came through this gate, and I interrupted. Like, we came through this gate down in these islands, and like we kind of walked all through, and it happened so long ago. It's kind of forgotten history, and I kind of start rambling about this planet that's out there that we're originally from, and how the elves have it wrong, and maybe we're not elves. We're not the monsters we think we are. And, oh geez, I'm sorry. These talking lenses. I kind of pull my lens on, kind of rub my lenses to make sure they're clean, and put them back on. And okay, yeah. I kind of put my chest out,
Well, yes, wonderful. You have quite a thorough grasp on your own histories and oral traditions. This is the first time I've seen such a detailed accounting of the rituals. And you wrote this yourself.
Yeah, I wrote it myself. I haven't had a chance to proofread it yet, so I'm hoping that this works. Yeah.
This is, if I might remark on this, it's quite unusual. It is not unusual to have accounts written, the author delivering their own contents.
Oh, this isn't
It
me.
is-
This was the Blood Axe talking to. I'm sorry. You go ahead.
But this is your written accounts from the narration of the Blood Axe.
Yes.
And I just find it remarkable that you are at least the fourth person today to have a self-annotated work not only be presented. That in itself is not remarkable. You'd be surprised the things people try to get away with in here. But this is the fourth self-annotated document to be presented and accepted. This will do nicely for our collections, and then enhance the collections of Candlekeep quite nicely. And, well, may I say, first off, I didn't catch your name.
Oh, it's Vornuk. My friends call me Vorn V, but Vornuk is fine. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, whichever one is easier for you.
However you prefer to be referred to is how I will refer to you.
Okay, just call me Vorn. Vorn's good. Yeah.
Vorn, very well, Vorn. Welcome to Candlekeep. Please make your way through the gate and await further instructions.
And he's so excited that he looks around to give someone a high five or a fist bump, and he is Doc within reach to me at all?
There's a half elf behind you, and then Doc.
All right, I look at the half elf, and I'm like,
she's kind of what? Oh,
and I kind of I kind of try to look tough again. Thank you. I am greatly honored by the privilege, and I walk forward, and I, do
yes. And all that's left is this half elf woman and Doc slowly making his way forward. Doc, unfortunately, you have to wait another half an hour as this poor girl and Sage Durthane, he's most apologetic as he's talking to her. They're very familiar with one another, as it's true she's been here quite frequently. But nearly every book in her bag is rejected. Before finally there is a single, barely descript leather tome, no writing that you can see on it on the cover. In fact, some of the pages almost seem to be falling out. But he holds them together carefully. He speaks very quietly to her. Almost inaudibly. You can make a perception check if you would like to try to hear what he's saying.
$16.
You can just barely hear as he leans over to her. Yes, why didn't you lead with this? This would have gotten you in 30 minutes ago. But I must ask, are you certain? Are you certain that you want to present this? Yes, absolutely. I am certain. Very well. We will most honorably add it to the collection. You may go inside. You will not need to group with the others. You may make your way to the hearth until somebody comes to get you. Very well. And he lets her in, and she carefully packs all of her bags back in, hoists this big canvas bag up, and heads through the gate, leaving just you, Doc. As Sage Durthane kind of looks up at you. Well, young man, it appears as though you are the last to present before the gate. I am Durthane, Sage of Candlekeep. Who are you, and what have you brought for us?
Doc doesn't answer his first question. He just pulls out a piece of paper. It's probably 4 inches by 4 inches. It looks like a child's drawing. It's a large stick figure in black and a small stick figure in green. Their 2 arms seem to be crossed. There's a sun in the corner, and the only writing on it, it says D-A-D-Y, and he hands it without saying anything.
Oh my god!
What is the medium? What is the medium that it's drawn in?
It's drawn in wax pen.
He carefully takes it, the single sheet of parchment.
Oh.
He turns it over and looks at the other side.
Oh.
This is your offering.
Yes, I have studied your rules extensively. They say that it requires to be a unique offering from someone influential.
Generally speaking, the works that are contributed to the vast collection of Candlekeep are written works containing, well, more than one word.
Do your rules stipulate a word count minimum to be allowed entry?
Well, not as such, but this is highly unusual. I'm going to need a moment. Please. I'm actually going to roll a die.
Oh.
Come
on, that sounds good. That's
a 23 that Durthane got. My friend, I'm not entirely certain, and he's holding this up. And he begins to hold it up to you. And as he shifts in the similar way that the young half-elven girl did, he shifts and the sun kind of is no longer blocked by you. And suddenly the sun is hitting this piece of paper. And he goes, Oh, one moment. And he suddenly seems very befuddled, and he takes a few steps over to the 5 avowed priests, and he begins gesturing. You see one of them kind of goes and tries to stifle a laugh as he kind of flicks a glance at you. And no, look. And he holds it up, and all of a sudden they all kind of lean in. One of them reaches in, pulls out a jeweler's loop, and let me see that, and hands it over. And then they begin to pass this jeweler's loop around, and Sage Durthane takes this drawing and the jeweler's loop, and he walks back over to you, Doc, and he says, I want to show you something. Just make sure that this is what you want to contribute. I don't know if you've used one of these before, but you place it immediately next to your eye, like so. Close your other eye and peer through it. I want you to look in particular at the lines that make up the drawings of these 2 figures here. And he holds the paper, handing you this loop, and even with him holding it, you kind of have to bend way down a little bit. Go ahead and give me an investigation check or a perception check, your choice.
I will roll investigation. I got 21.
It takes you a moment with that extreme magnification to sort of find where the figure is. And when the lines that you've looked at on this paper, who knows how many times, comes into view through the jeweler's loop, you see, at first, you see the wax pen, the texture that it left on the parchment from the roughness of the paper. But then you see that it's not just texture. Everywhere that these lines are drawn, through this magnification, you see symbols. Every line of this drawing is made up of written words.
What?
What languages do you speak?
Common and giant.
You do not know what this language is. It is nothing you
do not know
recognize,
what it
nothing you've seen before.
Wow.
I must ask you again. Are you certain this is your offering to Candlekeep?
Yes.
Very well. I have a most keen interest in this particular work. We'll be studying it profusely. Might I seek you out while you are here, if I should have any questions or discover anything?
He sort of looks around. While I'm here?
Yes, while you are here. Sorry, if I wasn't clear, this very interesting artifact has, of course, granted you access to Candlekeep.
But I've done what I set out to do. I have brought this document to Candlekeep and you have accepted it.
I'm afraid I don't understand. Do you not want admittance?
I suppose I had never considered entering.
Well, this grants you access for a 10-day. It would be a shame to not use that access.
I will take your words at face value. And I will enter Candlekeep as you suggest. And he reaches into his pocket and he pulls out a small pink flower. And he smells it, and he puts it behind the dwarf's ear, and he says, "Thank you. You have been helpful and kind as well."
I hope I can continue to be so for you during your stay here at Candlekeep. Please.
May I ask you one more question?
You may.
My chest, it feels warm, as if warmth is spreading from here outward. What does that mean?
Barring any pre-existing medical conditions, it could be satisfaction, happiness.
I will consider these words as well. Thank you.
Do you turn and enter the gates?
Yes.
As you turn and walk through the gates into the Court of Air, and you see all of the others who were waiting in line before you, standing in muted conversations, or in quiet conversations, standing around as the gulls fly overhead the massive Citadel library of Candlekeep. We are going to take a break. We are going to take... we are going to take...
So good already.
We are going to take a break for about 10 minutes or so. I just want to say a huge thank you to everybody who has tuned in with us so far. Please do, and of course to all of the wonderful people who have subbed and gift subs. and all of that wonderful stuff. Already donating, contributing to the domain tomes for the players. We are going to take about a 10-minute break, and when we come back, we will continue this first session of Scribes and Scrolls, the Candlekeep Mysteries. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. And we're back, and y'all are keeping those subs and gift subs coming, so we're just getting started, and you're all up to 15 domain tomes at your disposal.
Nice.
Okay. You all have been admitted into the Court of Air. You see before you, as you pass through the gate, you see an incredibly long and large open court. You see to your right many tall circular towers of different heights rising up. To your left are several buildings of various sizes. And at the far western edge of this court is a very large emerald door that leads into the Candlekeep proper. I would like for let's say Gary, roll me a D8. And what I am having you roll for is we are randomly rolling to determine who gets assigned to you as an avowed adjutant to be your guide.
6.
Okay. So as you are all standing there, and for everybody that came in before Doc, so Mizya, the first to get here, you have been standing here for a good 45 minutes, waiting, just for any kind of instruction, to be told what's happening. You see a handful of people moving in and around some of the buildings, a couple of people that look like they're avowed. They wear the vestments. You see from a nearby building, you see an older human man. He's very thin, has a hook nose, has a little bit of a hunch to him. He's bald on top of his head, but he has these long gray wisps of hair that are blowing in the breeze. He carries or uses a gnarled cane, and you can see a almost comically large brass horn hung by a cord around his neck. As he's sort of shuffling along, and you hear the tuk, 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 every time his cane hits the ground, and he finally gets in front of all of you. Hello, everyone.
Yes. Well, yes.
Good. Good. Would you?
Yes, I have been waiting here for quite some time, and I would appreciate it if we could get on with the proceedings. I do not like to be kept waiting.
And I do not like to be interrupted. The more you interrupt, the longer this will take. The longer you will wait. There's a few matters that we must attend to. My name is Orin Glass, and I will be your avowed adjutant today. Before we can proceed, you must all agree to a certain set of rules that, of course, everyone who enters Candlekeep must agree to. Now, you've all taken the first step of what is going to be a 10-day of a journey, unless you, of course, choose to leave early. which of course is at your discretion. First up, the Orders of Accordance. By submitting a unique work to the libraries of Candlekeep, you have all agreed to the Orders of Accordance. First, no fighting. All arguments must follow the rules of cordial debate and discussion. Violent altercations are not to be tolerated.
Teera looks uncomfortable.
I glance over at Teera immediately.
I glance at Vorn and I just kind of like shrug.
Yeah. I kind of, well.
No stealing. This rule applies to all objects within the keep, not just the library's works. No copying. Visitors are permitted to take notes while studying the library's works. But anyone who wants to make a full copy of a work must pay to have the manuscript created by the Scribes at the House of the Binder.
And he very slowly turns.
Does his back hurt?
Over there. It's the House of the Binder. Now, where was I? No copying. Visitors are, but I've already said that bit.
Yes, is there anyone
No!
that speaks a little faster that we could talk to?
If you insist on interrupting me, I will have to start over. No damaging, marking, or otherwise modifying the works. This rule does not apply to privately owned books, scrolls, and other documents that are not a part of Candlekeep's collection. Young man, why are you holding your hand in the air? Do you have a question?
You asked us not to interrupt you. I was trying to get your attention.
Fortunately, I've completed with the rules of accordance. Did you have a question?
That was my question.
Well, between you and 3 more years and I'll retire. By the gods, 3 more years. Right.
Meanwhile, you hear Asarius, like, very quietly in the background looking at Soren. Hear that? No mocking anything. Stop it.
Now, if while you are here you are in need of clothing repair, you will find across the court of hair erudite outfitters and clothiers. It's over there to the left, the emerald door. If you are a worshipper of Ogma or other deities, you may find solace at the Temple of Ogma. Of course, the smithy and the stables are here. Immediately here to my right, your left, the bath and steam houses. If you find yourself, please do find yourself there. Some of you have been on the road a while, I can tell. Of course, the House of Rest has plenty of rooms for you to call your own while you stay here. Next door to the House of Rest is your next destination, the Hearth. Please make your way to the Hearth. Right over there, next to the House of the Binder. Yes.
In the hearth, you will find food and drink available. And should there be a need, there are extra-dimensional spaces that you can rent for a few gold pieces. But please, do go there and get acquainted with one another while we prepare the rest of the adjutants to come and see about how they may help you. Before I dismiss you... And he turns and looks pointedly at you, Doc, who already has his hand up. Are there any more questions? Yes, young man. You're muted.
You are muted.
What if you don't have any gold?
Well, you do not need gold for staying at the House of Rest. And you will find complimentary bread and broth available to you at the hearth, but for more elaborate fare, meeting rooms and such, I'm sorry to say, you will need gold. My suggestion to you is, by legal means, acquire gold.
I prefer just to stand.
Oh my God.
So Vorn kind of like raises his hand, like slightly.
Yes.
No fighting, even in self-defense.
If everyone is adhering to the rules of no fighting, then, well, you shouldn't have to fight. You shouldn't have to defend yourself. But if you find yourself threatened, then yes, you may defend yourself.
Okay.
Oh, good to know. Good to know. I have a question. Is this what we do? We have a question. Question. So my question is, what do I have to wait to be called on? I don't know how this works.
You can just
What?
Just talk.
State your question already.
Yeah, sorry. Well, my question is, what is your smithy's name? I might go talk to them, and I want to know their name first.
The smithy is Carol Hammerbind. Very incredible dwarf and man.
Okay. Thank you. And I look at Vorn, I'm like, I feel like that went well. I raised my hand and everything.
You did your best. Kind of like, you know.
He looks around at the rest of you.
Are there any more questions? Right. I'm gonna call on you now, young man. Please, ask me any questions all at once that you have. Just you. In order. Ask me your next question, and then your next question. If you have any question, please.
Me?
Yes, you.
I just wanted to let you know I don't have any questions.
Young man, no fighting. No fighting, Oral.
No fighting?
No fighting. You don't want to get kicked out for violating your own rules and kick that young man's ass. Very well. If there are no more questions.
No.
This way.
As we start to walk away, I think Mizya will just kind of hang back and wait for Doc to come alongside. And they'll sidle up alongside Doc. Just gonna put this old craggly hand on his shoulder. Yes, I write like you. You're something of a smart ass yourself, aren't you not?
I'm very intelligent.
Yes. Well, my boy, Shall we?
Yes, please. After you.
Yes, thank you. Come along, Barnaby.
I love it. I love it so much.
I just imagine that. First of all, I have no idea why I chose two voices that would shred my throat in the first session, but
I'm talking like this tomorrow.
I just imagine that anybody that was there listening to this adjutant, Mr. Glass, what was it, Oral? I forgot his name already. Oren Glass.
Do they call him Mr. Glass?
They called me Mr. Glass.
He turns around, and I just imagine as he's slowly making his way, everybody's just sort of walking past him towards where he pointed to, or at least the bulk of the crowd. You can choose if you're not going to stay back and follow him, but many of the others that are not you just sort of, especially the young half-elven girl, she already knows where she was going. She seemed to be standing back anyway, even though she didn't have to, and then she heads off to the direction of the hearth. At this point, we can either go right into the hearth, or if anybody wants to talk to one another as you're walking across the court of air, which I have up in the map display. I'll make these some of these remind me players, and I will make some of these reference maps available to you for after the game, and for you audience. This is a good point to plug the Discord. There is a Candlekeep mystery section of our Discord that I will be posting similar material, reference things, and certain story bits. I believe if Staffin is already here, might be clipping already. We'll probably be posting clips in there as well.
Oh, he's clipping away.
Oh yeah,
He is clipping the clips.
I kind of do like a jot up to Teera, and I look at her marking on her arm and all of her honor marks, and I say, what clan? What tribe?
I just kind of like look over at him, and I kind of like scoff and smile. I'm like, and I point at my brand, and I'm like, the Roving Wolves.
The Roving Wolves. Tough lot they are. So, you wrote that in Orcish, huh?
Yeah. They took me in when I was little, and I grew up with them, and taught me everything. So,
I kind of look away, and I'm like, I say under my breath, my mom never taught me how to write in Orcish. And I just kind of leave it there.
But it wasn't my mom, or my Orcish mom or my dad. They didn't know it actually. The older ones in the tribe, they took me away and taught it to me because they thought maybe I could help them.
Yeah.
I'm a little less, no offense, frightening to villages and whatnot, so they'd send me off ahead.
Yeah, and I look at Teera, and I look at like her stature compared to mine, and I see our shoulders are kind of even, and I think to myself, like, I'm gonna have to spar this person. I want to see what they're like deep down inside. As much as I'm trying to suppress my Orcish nature, I feel like I kind of want to fight her. But
Can I make an insight check and see if I kind of like notice him sizing me up a little bit?
sure.
Okay. Nat 20.
Can I make a deception check to see if I can hide it?
You certainly can.
Sure. Go ahead and try.
So what's your insight? What's your insight on top of that 20?
So insight is just a +1 on top of the 20.
So
It
21.
doesn't matter. He rolled a 5.
Power 5, and I'm, and it's like where you can kind of see the muscles in my forearm kind of tensing and kind of like, fingering moves that I'm like, okay.
Yeah. I look at Vorn, and I just kind of like stand up a little straighter, and I'm like, what about you? Where are you from?
And I kind of like look away, and I'm like, oh crap, I have this mark on my forehead. And I kind of look away, and I'm like, it's not important anymore. I kind of walk. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Do I notice his mark?
Everybody
is
notices
it-
his
is it
mark. I
exposed?
mean,
Yeah. I like know what it says. Okay. So like, yeah, I kind of like am waiting for him to share more information about that, but I kind of don't force it.
Yep. And I continue to walk in awkward silence, like the way you feel after you said a couple words and you kind of have to, okay, bye
Yeah,
now, but you're going
yep.
to the same spot.
But you're going to the same parking lot?
Yep,
Yeah.
yep,
Yeah.
yep. Okay.
Amazing.
about this time, you find yourself across the court of air to the southern edge. You see the large building that seems to be made of a lot of brass and glass. That is the House of the Binder, where it was explained to you. You can, if you want copies of any books, spell books, any written works, whatever, any copies need to be hired through the House of the Binder. But next door, there appears everybody is funneling into what appears to be a modest tavern of sturdy construction, stone with wood timbers. Warm light is visible. This part is still in shadow. The walls, you've noticed as you pass through the gate, the walls that rise up around Candlekeep are 50 feet high and 15 feet deep. So there's still quite a shadow that's being cast across this particular area. So there's warm light spilling out of these windows on either side of the front door. As you enter into the tavern and everybody's filtering in, you pass through the door and immediately notice that the hearth is 3 times bigger on the inside than it is on the outside.
What?
You see there is a long bar with enough stools to seat 20 customers. You see round tables with wooden chairs or rectangular tables with benches. A large fireplace is in the very middle of this room, and there's a dozen cushy armchairs that encircle it. You see a few eclectic guests. You see some adjutants. You see a few scholars sipping at their morning ales, and a book propped open on the table, and picking at a plate of eggs, a couple rashers of bacon, another, just few people eating. Up above the bar, suspended from the ceiling, is a 2-foot diameter, faintly glowing clockwork object that has a crystal orb embedded in the ceiling, embedded in it, hanging over the ceiling over the bar. It's this clockwork device has these interlocking rings that seem to just slowly revolve, and you can catch glimpses of this crystal in the middle of it. Amongst the most notable of the patrons, sitting in one of the overstuffed chairs around the fire in the middle of the bar, is an ogre. You have entered the bar known as the Hearth. What would you like to do?
You're muted, Gary.
Damn it. I keep pressing I press the button every time. It just doesn't unmute. He's going to go up to the bartender, and he's going to say, "Excuse me."
Yeah.
Is there a gold cost associated with standing by the wall?
Sorry. Are you asking if you have to pay to stand here?
Yes. I was told that there are places here where you have to pay, and I don't have any gold.
Right. No. Standing's free. And For some of our finer drinks and fare, you will need to spend some coin, but we have tasty broth and bread and a fine, if somewhat watery, ale available if you would like. Complimentary, no cost associated.
No, thank you. I don't do any of that. He points over to the side of the wall, out of the way. May I stand over there?
As you point over to the side of the wall, you notice though that there's not a whole lot of like wall space. Everywhere that there's a wall, there are doors all along the walls. Doors of all different sizes and shapes, embedded in what some of them look like if you open them, you would just go right back outside again. Look, if you go stand against the wall, you're going to be standing next to a meeting room, and it might make some people uneasy. We got a lot of room here at the bar. You could look, little one sitting all by himself around the fire. You could go sit down. There's plenty of more chairs over there, and there's no cost associated with it.
Mizya kind of is still kind of next to Doc as we've walked in, and I'll reach up and just kind of again hold hand on arm. Yes, Doc, was it? Come sit by me. I will make sure you're out of the way, and no gold. Just come sit.
Oh, I don't like to sit.
Well, I will go sit, and
yes.
You can stand next to me.
Yes. So Doc will try and position himself in a spot where he can face the wall as much as he can, as opposed to looking out on people. He's going to try and minimize his real estate space in the building as much as possible, so that nobody is looking. He can't see anybody directly looking at him.
Okay. So where would you take yourself and Doc, Mizya? There's the bar, there's round and square tables, there's the circle of chairs around the fire.
Is there someplace, I think Mizya would have picked up on Doc's need to not be in the center of the room towards the edge, so I would find a table or something, or some chairs that were near the edge of the room.
Yeah, you can do that. You can find a round table that can be out of the way. There's nothing up against the walls because, as I said, all of these doors are there, but
just near the edge of where the people are. Yeah,
not a problem.
Yes, Doc. Well, I will sit here, and you can stand there and stare at the wall as long as you please. Please let me know if there's anything that you need.
Oh, no, thank you. I'm self-sufficient.
And Mizya has already turned their attention away from Doc and is not reading.
You do not care.
So.
What about Assyria and Soren?
Assyria and Soren have made their way to the barkeep. Let's see.
As you're walking across the room, you hear as you pass nearby where the circle of chairs is, you hear the ogre who's sitting there. He just looks over at you and he goes, "Doggy! You've got a dog!"
Oh. And she'll kind of hold her hands up, yes.
Does he bite?
Just be gentle.
Can I pat him on the head?
Hang on one moment. Thank you for asking. Soren, sit. And Soren will kind of sit. Stay. All right, you can pet him now.
Thank you very much. I like doggies. And he comes walking over, and you hear this ogre's 12 feet tall, and he comes over and he just squats down in front of you, and you can hear just the sinew and muscle just like leather just tightening and creaking, and he kind of cocks his head at Soren.
Soren will kind of move his head.
What a pretty doggy. I like your eyes. And he just very gently, and he actually says, "Pat, pat, pat."
Oh!
And you kind of see Soren will actually like lean up, kind of do like a little mini jump into the actual pet, kind of reaching up towards him, and allowing him to pet the top of his head.
What is your doggy's name?
His name is Soren.
Hello, Soren. My name is Little One. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance. Do you shake?
And he holds out this massive meaty palm to Soren. Does Soren shake?
Soren, I don't think no shake, but what
Hold on,
Assyria will do is Assyria will actually kind of bend down like she's rubbing the sides of his belly and kind of like try to move his paw up to meet. So that way he is doing a paw. Can I maybe try and sleight of hand this? Like subtle? Like, oh, you good boy, and
Yeah.
try and bring his
If
paw.
if you hurt little one's feelings.
Oh my god,
So-
no.
So you do that, and he shakes.
Oh, such a good doggy. Pet,
Yes.
pet, pet.
And then he leans over to you, and though his volume of voice doesn't change, you can tell he's trying to stage whisper.
That was very nice of you to help him if he doesn't know how to shake hands. I wouldn't want him to feel bad. I'm sorry. My name is Little One. What's your name?
My name is Assyria. It's a pleasure to meet you, little one.
Assyria.
Yes.
It is a pleasure to meet you as well.
Sure.
You can basically grab like one of his fingers,
Yeah.
but he's very gentle. He barely moves his hand.
Oh.
Mhm.
So I did not mean to interrupt you. I've not seen you here before. Are you new to Candlekeep?
I am. This is mine and Soren's first time here.
I've been here for a while. I'm staying over here, just reading my book.
And he holds up this book, and it's a leather-bound blue tome with gold around, sort of gold filigree and embossing. And he says,
Been reading this book for a little while. It's called Storm King's Thunder, written by Squire Fink. It follows the exploits of a band of adventurers searching for a storm giant named Ekaton, whose sudden disappearance caused great upheaval up and down the Sword Coast some years ago. I think it's supposed to be a biographical accounting of these adventurers, but some of it seems a bit unreal. I think it might be fiction.
At
Make
this
me-
point, okay,
make
real
me-
quick. Okay, go ahead.
no,
Sorry,
you go ahead. I want to hear
apologize.
what you're going to say.
I was just gonna say, so at this point, Teera has sat at the bar in order to drink and is sort of like listening to this conversation.
Oh, yeah,
And then,
everybody can hear this.
Oh yeah.
Little one is
Oh, yeah.
not quiet.
Nope.
And I look over at Vornuk and I just say, I do believe that's the first time I've ever heard an ogre use a word more than one syllable, huh?
Oh.
I am equally surprised.
I say that quietly. I don't want to. I don't want little one to hear me.
Yeah.
Um,
and
Well, let's just find out.
No, no. Yes, fine, whatever. It's here in turn.
Oof.
How? Yeah. Does he? I hope he does.
Well,
Yeah,
if
I
you're
was gonna
trying
say
to be
can I
quiet,
roll?
you can try to make a stealth check on that.
Oh Christ. Okay. Oh no. Well, that's just a. That's just a.
Or-
That's just a 10. Or
Well, for his
should I make a
for his perception, he got a 14.
Ooh.
You hear the neck crack as he just sort of looks over at you, Teera, and then he just goes and gives you a big
Oh.
half toothless smile.
Oh, I love him. I like raise my glass to him a little sheepishly, and I just kind of like go back to my drink.
yeah, and I go, can't judge a book by its cover. Very quietly, kind of like, while keeping my eyes
Yes.
forward on the mead that I'm drinking.
Amazing.
Little one, do you like to read stories about adventurers? Is that your...
I like to read just about anything. Pardon me, Assyria and Soren. Excuse me.
Oh,
And he looks right over at you, Teera.
oh no.
I don't mean to.
Oi.
I don't want to be rude and interrupt whatever it is you're doing. But it's a very astute observation you've made that my vocabulary is quite a bit larger than the average ogre's. You are quite right to be astonished by this.
I nudge her and I'm like, astute. That's amazing.
Might I interest you all in a pint of ale, and I will tell you my tale.
And there's this moment, and he kind of looks up, and he just sort of seems to realize he just made a rhyme, and he just goes,
Oh,
Oh,
oh
Right.
my god.
Oh my god.
Yes. Yes.
he looks
I
over
called
at the
her- okay.
bartender, and
Okay.
he holds up his hand, whether that means 5 and he kind of goes like this, and he just invites all of you to sit around in the armchairs with him
And-
around the fire.
As I'm walking towards the table next to Teera, I'm like, I gotta read the book that he submitted. I have to.
Oh, God. I go over and I want to get close to little one, and I just want to be like, I'm sorry if I offended you. I that was not right of me.
it's a fair thing to be astonished when one sees things as out of the ordinary as me. I mean, let's be honest. When you walked in here today, the last thing you thought you'd see is an ogre reading a book, eh?
I don't know what I should say at this point. No,
It's all right.
I guess.
My name's Little One. What's yours?
Teera. I'm Teera. I'm from up north.
Teera from up north. Nice to meet you. What about you?
He looks over at you, Vorn.
I'm Vornuk, but you can call me Vorn.
Vornuk called Vorn.
That's right. Yep. Hey, I'm impressed. What's that book you're reading again?
Is Storm King's Thunder by Scryer's Fink. It's a recent acquisition of mine.
Can I look at it?
Absolutely.
And he hands it over to you.
And I immediately swap out my drinking glasses for my reading glasses, and I begin to kind of thumb through the book. I'm like, I see why you like it. I kind of pass it back over to him, and quickly swap out the reading glasses back to talking and social glasses.
Does anybody else join him, little one? What about Mizya and Doc? Or do you stay over where you are, or do you join?
Assyria will move over with Soren. She'll grab an ale and kind of curl up on one of the chairs.
And real quick, I'm going to glance at Terry's biceps and kind of judge her strength real quick. If that's okay. Is that cool?
I'm not sure if you're asking me or Cari.
Carrie, is that cool?
I 100% consent to your glance.
Yeah, do you
at my
consent to me giving you a
Yeah.
once over
biceps.
for
Thank you.
strength?
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I think Mizya glances up with kind of just a disgusted annoyance at the noise, but quickly puts nose right back down in the book.
Doc is quite happy to continue staring at what minor thing passes for a wall in this absurd building.
All right. There's a few of the sages and adjutants and whatnot that are in here that some of them have left. Nobody really seems to pay too much mind. A couple of them give a greeting, a warm greeting to little one as they're leaving. For the most part, it's the 5 of you in here with maybe a couple other patrons. And as the bartender brings and passes out some ales, Little One looks at all of you and just says, "Now this tale, I hope it won't offend, but it's my true accounting of how I came to be here at Candlekeep. A few years ago, Little One, as I was not called Little One a few years ago, I was like many of my kind. I was brutish and cruel. One day, I met a halfling adventurer, and he was wearing this shiny gold headband." And he points, and he's got this circlet on his forehead, this gold circlet. "When I saw him, I wanted it, so I killed him. I crushed him and took it, but it was too tiny. But then, when I woke up, it was my sized, and I put it on. And then I began to think about what I had done. I spent many days pondering what aspects of fate led me, and what led this little halfling to cross paths with me, and what made me kill him. And I began to appreciate the error of my ways. And I thought, I need to seek out a better way of living. One in which I don't crush halflings and take their belongings. But what was I to do? This little one was dead already. And so I took on the name Little One, to honour the halfling whose life I cut short. But wherever I went, no matter how much I talked to them about my tales, and tried to be as polite as possible, nobody wanted an ogre around them. Eventually, I found myself here at Candlekeep, hoping to learn as much as I could. It was very fortunate for me that the little halfling had upon his possession a book of some value to those at Candlekeep. I hadn't yet begun to read, and had not yet read that one, so I don't yet know what it is. I'm hoping to one day read it. The sages have said I could have it any time I want, but I want to acquire more knowledge. If I'm being honest with you, I'm afraid of what I might find in there. So one day, Little One will be brave enough to read that book. And so I've been here ever since. I help out wherever I can, and they let me stay here. That's my story. It's over now.
Mizya pipes up from halfway across the room. "Do you mean to tell me you could not read mere weeks ago?"
No, that was years ago. I've been here for... I've lost track. I want to say it's either a 5 or an 8 years.
So even so, you've gone from brutish ogre to some form of advanced intellect in just a matter of years. This
Yes.
I have not heard of such things before.
That's the wonderful news about Candlekeep. See, you've already been here, what, maybe an hour? And you've already learned something new. A piece of knowledge you didn't have but an hour ago. Imagine what you'll know tomorrow.
Right.
What brings you to Candlekeep? He's still talking to you, Mizya.
Well, I guess I would say the same that brings you here. It's knowledge. I have spent many, many years, decades, in fact, at the library at Silvery Moon, and, well, I've read everything they have to offer, so I have come here to find more knowledge.
From what I've heard, the collections at Silvery Moon are quite vast and quite a complete library, but merely a fraction of what is available at Candlekeep. As you know, I've heard some of the sages say if you can get access into the main part of all of this, there's even lore lost below in the catacombs. They've got so much knowledge here they can't even keep track of all of it. I don't think I'll ever leave this place.
What kind of lost knowledge?
Nobody knows until they find it.
Because it's lost.
Exactly. You'll do well here at Candlekeep.
You you notice that the whole time he's been talking, and more so, Little One seems to keep looking over in the direction of the door. Just every once in a while, he's as if he's waiting for someone.
Is it the main door that enters?
Yeah, the main
The
door that
tavern?
you would have come in.
Okay.
Can Asteria do like an insight check to see if it's like a look of concern, a look of
Yeah,
excitement,
absolutely,
or-
absolutely.
Okay. Okay. 14.
I'd say that's enough. He's an ogre, so his face is much larger and therefore easier to read. Every time he glances at the door, there's this sort of micro expression, the furrowing of his brow, as if he's waiting for somebody and they haven't shown up yet.
Are you expecting someone, little one?
Oh, yes. I've been expecting my friend to show up. He usually comes by when he's here in the mornings. He is himself a sage. His name is Matthias. He comes here quite frequently, studying. But I've not seen him today. He's usually here by now. Well, you've only just got in here, so I don't imagine you would have met him yet. He doesn't generally do gate duty.
Is he perhaps in the library itself? Maybe.
Well, he's usually there, but upon awakening, he usually comes and has breakfast with me. He has not come yet today. If he's not here soon, we're gonna have to have lunch together, I guess.
Oh,
That's one way to look at it. She'll kind of look a little bit lost and slightly panicked over to a Teera. Just kind of noticing, having picked up on her presence in the room.
yeah.
Just kind of shoots a look over at her of like,
I kind of shrug and I'm like, well, we're not going anywhere urgently. We can just wait and see if he shows up. And if he doesn't, we can maybe pop out and find him.
Do you know where he stays about?
He's always studying in a very specific study room at the Pillars of Pedagogy.
And he sort of just vaguely points towards the front door. And as he points at the front door, as if on cue, the door opens. But in comes what appears to be a teenage, sort of almost pinkish-skinned tiefling. They wear sort of a very mild, not mild, that's not the word I want. Conservative is more what I was looking for. Conservative dressed down version of the robes of the Avowed. You recognize that what they are wearing is a much cleaner and very pressed version of the vestments that Oren Glass was wearing. This appears to be one of the Avowed adjutants. They come in, they have their horns sort of come up out of their head and just are beginning to curve. And you can tell by their humanoid features that they appear to be a teenager of about 15 or 16. And they open the door and they look around and they look over at little one and they take a step forward and they sort of hesitate as they look at the rest of you that are seated around. And little one looks at them and says, "Oh, it's irony. Come, please." And motions to them. They come over there, and as soon as they come over, you see that this tiefling is about 5.5 feet tall, and they look up at little one. Sort of their hands are they're sort of wringing their hands together. "It's okay, irony. These are my new friends. I didn't expect you would have such a crowd of people around you, little one. Actually, this could be good. Well, it's not good. It's not good. The reason I'm here, little one. I'm sorry to say this. Sorry. I am Irony. I am one of the adjutants here. You can just call me Irony. I mean, I guess you would. That's my name. That's what I told you. I'm sorry. I am a bit distraught.
I cut this person off. I'm like, how old are you, kid?
I am 15 years old. And I am an adjutant of Candlekeep. Listen, this is a most serious matter. Little one, but Sage Matreus has gone missing. We went to find him in his study this morning, and he's not there. But are all of you new seekers here? You've
What's
just
a
arrived.
seeker?
But you are. You're here at Candlekeep seeking knowledge, yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
I could really use some help. If only to bear witness. Would you mind coming with me? It's concerning one of our sages. He was actually the sage that was supposed to be coming down to talk to all of you. And well, that sort of puts a damper on your introduction to the pillars of pedagogy. I will be filling in his stead. Irony sort of seems to make a decision. I am taking over for Matreus, and I am I'm telling you to please follow me, all of you new seekers.
So what you're saying, child, is that we cannot get what we need unless we help you.
That's how it works here. You have to meet with one of the sages before you can learn how things work here at Candlekeep. The sage who you are to meet with is currently not where they are supposed to be. I would like to take you to their study chamber, and from there, for all I know, he will be there. Maybe.
Mizya lets out a sigh that is just like fills the room somehow. It's way deeper of a sigh than someone Mizya's size should be able to let out. Very well. Come along, Barnaby.
Teera.
Well,
sorry.
And Mizya looks down and notices that their spectral assistant is no longer there.
Oh no.
Well, would someone be kind enough to carry my bag for me? I have brought more books than I can carry on my own. And, well, I only have so many times I can cast the spell to carry these for myself. No? Very well. Come along, Barnaby. And Mizya waves their hand again, and Barnaby, the spectral, appears, picks up the books, and Mizya will head towards the door.
Amazing. Teera pats her thighs. And like, well, and then she has about 2/3 of her drink left, and she just like drains it all the while, like, And she like finishes it, and she like slams it down, and she's like, all right, we can go.
Doc is going to turn around, looking away from the doors, and he's going to walk over to Little One, and he's going to cock his head, and he's going to reach into his pocket, and he's going to hand Little One a flower.
Different flower.
That bastard has a different flower. Gary, take a point of inspiration for the flowers.
Yes.
Yes, 100%.
That second flower got me. You get a point of inspiration for that.
The first flower was good.
Little One
Oh my.
very gently reaches down to you, Doc, and he takes this flower and he says, and he looks at you, and you can see his eyes, even though they're sort of small and sunken in ogre eyes, you can see that they're a little bit bigger. They're very wet with moisture, and you can see the tears pooling at the bottom as he says, please, find my missing friend, and be sure to let me know if he's all right.
Okay. Doc will turn and he'll follow Irony.
Does everybody else follow out?
Asteria, who's already on the way to Little One as well, actually reaches into her bag, and there's a small kind of wooden box. She'll tinker around in there for a second before pulling what looks like a little acorn figurine of a wolf. And she'll hold it out to Little One and be like, he's not your friend right now, but here's a little doggy for you to hang on to while we sort this mess out.
He holds out his hand and takes this, and he looks at it, and he looks over at you, and then he looks at Soren. I've got my own doggy.
You do.
And he takes the flower, and seeing where Doc had pulled it from, he just sort of tucks it into the edge of this rough spun tunic that he's wearing. And then he just looks down at this little acorn as you all are starting to head out after Irony, and you would just hear from behind you before the door closed, pet, pet, pet.
Oh.
And that's where we're going to end our first session.
No! Oh my god.
Oh my
I wanna
gosh.
adopt this Little One so badly.
I was like, it was so cute. I was thinking, like, don't you pet that acorn thing. Don't you pet that acorn thing.
I was like, dang it.
Oh my gosh.
Cari gave the flower. I was like, well, I already had it planned. I was going to do it. I'm doing it anyways.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Oh man,
Oh
you guys,
my
this was what a heck of a way to kick off This brand new campaign, Scribes and Scrolls, the Candlekeep Mysteries. This is book 1, The Joy of Extradimensional Spaces, and this was chapter 1, The Missing Sage. We will be returning next Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern for chapter 2, Magical Doors.
I wonder what that's going to be about.
Right? Oh, this was so much fun. I love. It's been a long time since I've had a first session of level 1 characters. You guys are such an amazing group of role players with amazing characters. If you're in the audience and you haven't already followed, make sure you follow. Hit that little heart icon.
Well, you can't
or
follow
bell,
Ricky, but yeah.
To be notified.
Wow.
That that when we go live. And we're going to be, well, also thank you for everybody who joined us in chat and everybody who, donated through, there was a tip and there were, lots of subs and gift subs. This amazing party already has 16 domain tomes, on hand, through your generosity. That's you, giving to the players and, helping to support the channel. I am so looking forward to this. I was looking forward to you all meeting Little One, but honestly, I didn't really know much about what Little One was going to, what his mannerism. I do this a lot with my NPCs. I don't know what they're going to act like or sound like until I give voice to them. So I met Little One pretty much at the same time you did.
Amazing.
And he just came out, and I think I love Little One a little bit now too. But yeah, this is, I was a little bit worried. I had my eye on you, Gary, doing your best to actively avoid the hook. It's a little inside joke with us. But no, these are all amazing characters. That I can't wait to learn more about them. These characters are level 1, and we'll have a few sessions before they get an opportunity to level up. We will be playing through the entirety of the Candlekeep, Mysteries book, but we're going to be fleshing it out a bit more, building it out more with the stories, with the stories that we're starting to tell. We're gonna get out of here in just a moment. I think we are going to raid our friends over at Scryer Vision. Looks like they're streaming right now.
Hey, Gary would like to say something before we go.
Gary has a thing. Yep.
Go ahead, Gary.
Yes, sorry I missed it at the beginning. I was taken aback that I was first. As many of you know, I am the DM for Quest for the Cure. We raise money for Duchenne muscular dystrophy research, and since last year, we've raised, in partnership with Citadel Geek, our live play game, we raised $17,000 to end this horrible disease that has no cure. As you may know, we have amazing players like Amy Lynn Dezura, Blair Brown, a comedian Emma Wakeland, and legendary creator of the Forgotten Realms, Ed Greenwood. You have a chance to play. I'm going to drop a link in the chat, jessysjourney.com/quest for the cure. For every $20, $25 you donate between now and next Wednesday, you win a chance to join us for our game on May 29th. So do check out the link, or at the very least, come watch a show on the 29th.
Woo!
And I would like to real quick plug too. I put it in the chat a couple times, but Legends of Aukera, Aukera. Amanda has done all this amazing artwork
so
for us.
Great.
These character art and the group of us in the library. So please go check out Legends of Aukera, Aukera. It's in the chat. Amanda does great work. There you
go. Anybody else? So
no, sir.
You can will also want to tune in on Tuesday and Thursday. Dwight mentioned at the beginning. Dwight does Let's Paint Tiny Things on Tuesdays over on Big Bearded Nerd 21, and does International House of Minis on Thursdays. Jordan, when do you got? I missed your streaming schedule. What do you got coming up next?
So tomorrow I'm doing Honey Heist at 9:30 p.m.
That's right.
over on the Amphitheater. Wednesday from 7 to about 9, I'll be playing some Dead by Daylight. So come on over to twitch.tv/D&D Jordan Lee. Then Thursday, I will be back over at the Amphitheater. We will be talking about Naruto, as well as bridging different anime topics into TTRPGs. And then on Friday and Saturday night, I will be doing more Dead by Daylight. And then Sunday morning, I have my wonderful classic brunch show with the amazing Goblin Katie as we try to survive World of Warcraft. Tip, we die a lot. So it's fine, and it's a great way to start off the Sunday morning.
That schedule makes me tired.
I like to do a lot of things.
Oh, great.
All right.
And
Well,
we'll be back here. Or, I'm sorry, we'll be over on Big Bearded Nerd 21 on Wednesday with me, Jake, and Cari for
Curse of the Mummy Lord.
COC.
Curse of the Mummy Lord. Yes, Call of Cthulhu. It'll be
Yes.
super great.
Yep. And then, of course, you can tune in on Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern right here for our next session of the Dawnbringers. Our friend M, who plays Fig, is gone for the summer. I totally and mercilessly ripped Fig away from them in a dramatic fashion last session. But we are joined for the summer by Goblin Katie, who is playing Rolo, the tiny winged kobold who rides on a snowy owl bear, y'all.
What?
Owlfred.
What?
Owlfred.
Yes, Professor Owlfred.
Yes.
So you're going to want to come check that out
Stop
as
it.
well. Again, huge thank you not only to everybody who was in chat actively participating, but if you're there lurking, that's fine. We're happy to have you. We appreciate you being there nonetheless. And of course, I want to say a huge thank you to these amazing players, Gary, Jordan, Dwight, Cari, and Ricky. Without you, this would just be me talking to myself for 2.5 hours. With that, stick around. We are going to raid Scryer Vision as soon as we sign off here. Head over there and start hitting them with all your wonderful emotes. Tell them Mini Terrain Domain sent you. But we are going to go ahead and we are going to end this stream the same way we end every stream. And you can say it with me if you want.
Pet, pet, pet.